Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out another product from Moondrop. That'll be the second one this week, which I don't normally cover two products from the same brand in a week, but Moondrop is releasing some pretty interesting products. And the one that we're going to check out today is their collaboration with Wuthering Waves. This is a Japanese open world RPG. Moondrop has done collaborations in the past like this, and it's been pretty successful. But what I like about this is not only is it themed around obviously the collaboration, but they've done some very interesting things here when it comes to the drivers, even when it comes to the price. These come in at 79 bucks. And this is the open ear clip-on style earbud. Again, this is, basically the style that we've seen become very popular in the last year or two. And I do think this is going to be a product, whether you're a fan of Wuthering Waves or not, that a lot of people are going to be pretty interested in. So let's go ahead and start with the collab itself. You can tell from the packaging, obviously on the outside, you see two characters from the game. It's still kind of subdued, which is kind of interesting for Moondrop. A lot of their stuff is usually colorful, flashy. It's made to kind of jump out at you. Some other things that they've included to tie in the collaboration is there's two badges on the inside, one male character, one female character. It also comes with two what they call tickets, basically two like elongated looking things that you could kind of use probably as bookmarks. And then it comes with a themed lanyard. Now outside of that, there is some theming on the case, the earbuds themselves, but the theming is kind of minimal. Even if you're not a fan of Wuthering Waves or know what it is, you could buy these and it's not so heavily themed that you feel like you are tied into that. But Moondrop did stick with the same kind of design they have with their other clip-on style earbuds. The case is one of those you just kind of flip and you can see the exposed earbuds there, and you flip it back where you can charge it. But they have reinforced these now with 4 N52 magnets, so it's a lot firmer. It basically clicks into place a lot quicker. Now the earbuds themselves are kind of large, not like huge, but this is also by design because this is the first that I've seen this. There are dual drivers in a clip-on style earbud. So Moondrop has decided to use a very large 13mm dynamic driver and also a planar driver. Now this is the part that I think a lot of people are going to be very interested in, but we'll talk about that part a little bit more once we get to the sound. Some other interesting features in here is it does support LE audio, it does support LHDC. That is basically a low lag, high def codec. If you're going to use them for movies or gaming and your device supports this, you can have low lag and also still have really good audio, up to 24-bit playback. Now it does also support multi-point connection, so you can connect to more than one device at a time. Now moving back to like the design of the earbuds, they do have a silicone bridge, which makes these very comfortable. It's really flexible, easy to kind of get these to fit the way you want to, and it doesn't have that very tight feel. They do use touch controls, and out of the box, they don't give you control over everything because there's not a single tap function. This is also by design so that you're not like accidentally getting it to do something just because you're trying to adjust the earbuds in your ear. So you can go in the app and switch some of this around or add some added controls and actually get these to control your play, pause, skipping your tracks forward and backwards, and also your volume control. Some other things that you can do within the app is these also support all of the different EQ options that Moondrop gives you with their normal earbuds. So you have some preset EQ options. You can go in and mess around with the 5-band equalizer, and then it has the section where all of the users have uploaded their own EQ settings. And this is always kind of fun to just kind of play around with. I kind of always find something I like just by doing this, but honestly, I was very impressed with the way that these were tuned out of the box. Some other things that you can do within the app, and the first thing that I recommend doing is going in and bumping your gain up to high. Mine was set to medium out of the box, which still gave me some really good volume, but I want to get the max that I can out of these, so I just bumped them up to high and kind of left them at that whole time. And then the only other thing that you can do within the app, and this again kind of ties to the theme of the earbuds, is you can change whether you want it to be the male or the female voice that you're listening to with the different functions of the earbuds. And this kind of ties into the characters of the game, but if you don't want a male character, you could switch it over to the female character, but there's no way to turn this off, so do keep that in mind. Now, outside of all the collaboration stuff, inside the box, the only other thing that's included that ties into these is the USB-C cable, which you will need to charge these. But speaking of the charging, battery life is very impressive. especially, for a pair that's made to be used all day. On a single charge, you can get 9 hours on the earbuds, and with the charging case, you can get about 30 hours total. So you'll be able to make it through a full work day without having to take these out and charge these. And then as far as fast charging, this is another one like the Moondrop pudding that we checked out earlier this week. There's no information on this, but if I do find any, I will pin it as like the top comment. And then if you're going to use these outdoors, there's also not an official IP rating. Again, this is like the Moondrop pudding, so I don't know if this is just something Moondrop's going to do, or maybe this is a way to cut costs, but if you're going to use them outdoors, just be a little bit careful. Now, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, they are using the AI environmental noise canceling to try to block out a lot of your surroundings and just kind of focus in on your voice. For the most part, I think it does an okay job, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here. So here is a quick mic test outdoors. This should be a pretty good test because I can hear somebody cutting grass off to the side. I definitely can hear some traffic off to this side, but this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call public. So now let's go ahead and talk about the sound. And to me, this is the most exciting part because as somebody that checks out a lot of earbuds and a lot of clip-on style earbuds, it's kind of hard to get excited about the sound because a lot of them kind of sound similar. But what Moondrop did here with going with the dual drivers is definitely opening these up quite a bit because the dynamic driver handling the bass gives you a lot of punch. It gives you some pretty good thump that a lot of the other clip-on style earbuds don't do, but it's not overwhelming. It is something you can kind of feel like a slight vibration, but it does not roll over to the mids and the highs, and that could be because they've decided to go with a planar to handle everything else. So mids have really good presence. They definitely sound like they're in front of the rest of the mix and had no issues being able to hear male or female vocalists. And the treble on these are actually kind of bright, but not to that point of being harsh, but to that point where they're wanting to pull out all of the details, but still allow it to kind of balance out pretty well with the low end. So it did really well across all genres. I could go from like pop to hip hop to something a little bit more vocal driven like easy listening, and I don't feel like it's sacrificing or just kind of being held back. So this is a really good one just to use across the board, and because of the LHDC, it's also a good one to use for movies or gaming. Again, as long as your device supports this, having that low lag but still having that high def codec, it just sounds fantastic. There's just, again, by design, there's a lot of space here, and it just does an excellent job of being able to kind of pinpoint and pick apart where different things are coming from. So to wrap this up and my overall opinion on these, I actually think this is a hell of a value coming in at $79. I think this competes with like the Shox Open Dots. It competes with the Bose clip-on style earbuds. This is when it comes to sound. And again, I didn't kind of expect this in that price range, but it's definitely the driver configuration that's making these stand out when it comes to the sound that these have. Mixing that with the battery life, that you're going to be able to use these all day. I don't really know what else you could ask for in a pair like this. I will say the case is a little larger than some of the other ones. It's still pocketable, but because of the elongated design, it just takes up a little bit more space. And another thing about the case is you can't like charge it and then take the earbuds out, because if you try to spin it, the cable is going to block it. So I would have liked to have seen the charger kind of be on the side of these, but again, that's kind of nitpicking these. You could take the charger out, spin it, take the earbuds out. Oh, and another thing is the earbuds can be placed in the case any way you want them to, and it will charge. It doesn't have to go, the left on the left side and the right on the right side. So that's another thing I like, because you just take them out, put them in, not have to overthink things. But guys, that wraps up my video on the Wuthering Waves collaboration with Moondrop, their newest open ear style earbuds. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.